right, what's going on, guys? We're back at it. It's April 30th, and I'm going to be kicking off my bait site here in Ontario, Canada for spring bear. I'm late to the game this year, but hey, that's what happens when you have an extended winter and a lot of rain. So what I'm hoping to do is set up my bait, set up a trail camera, check it on my tree stands, and hopefully kick things off and start pulling on some bears. So I'm going to be bringing you along. We're going to be bringing all my gear in with me today. Hopefully we can set up the drone in the sky after I finish up everything, get some cool shots, and give you an understanding of the area that I'm hunting as well. So that said, let's get going. I may need to do 2 trips, but we'll see how this turns out. So what I think I'm gonna do is just pack up that one bag, haul it on in there, come on back, get the rest of my gear and all my donuts, and then we'll do all one big setup once we're in there. So this part's always tricky for me. Put it on my bag. This is the first time since last October I've done it. Got maybe 65 pounds on my back, nothing super heavy. Manageable. And I can take my time today. I don't mind, it's a nice warm day. Started off pretty cold though. We had about -5. I think that's around 23, 24 Fahrenheit. So for me it works. A lot easier without that pick line in my arm from chemo. So yeah, we're gonna get going. It's a really nice day out. This is my first time out here this spring, and I've been pretty quiet since wrapping up my ice fishing and my wolf hunt this winter, if you've seen that. If not, check it out, you might like it. For me, it was a good way to get outdoors and still enjoy myself while rebounding from chemo. I couldn't ice fish or do too much, obviously, just from the neuropathy in my hands and just a slow recovery, poor energy, lack of strength. But I was still able to have a fairly successful season in my books. But I'm excited to get out here this time. This is going to be hopefully my first spring bear. The fall black bear turned out awesome last year. I went back and I counted the days after I got back on my feet after chemo. It took me 96 days to figure out how to take one down. So I'm pretty proud of that. And yeah, hopefully we could do that all again this time around. If you're new to the channel, my name's Calvin. I'm a testicular cancer survivor. I guess you could say I beat it for a second time now. I was initially diagnosed back in 2023, had surgery, found out I needed chemo in 2024. So we had a relapse roughly 10 months later. And since then, I've been using the outdoors to recover, healing through the hunt, if you will, and grounding myself, finding myself, maybe find a little bit new purpose. I'm thinking about maybe using this channel possibly to hopefully encourage other young adults like myself to pay a little bit more attention to their health, because I found out that I'm not invincible. It was a rude awakening. It humbled me super well. And recently I've just teamed up with Movember, and hopefully you guys can start seeing me in a little bit more of campaigns, awareness, and different measures that we could hopefully use to get men talking about men's health issues, just because there's such a negative association or stigma with them. For me, getting diagnosed at 31 with testicular cancer, no kids, just really getting on my feet after education or school, working. I was in the best shape of my life. I was getting ready for a bodybuilding and maybe a powerlifting contest at the same time. Had great blood work. I was in really top tier shape, and it still happened to me. I wasn't a drinker, I didn't smoke, and it still happened. So if this happened to me, hey, maybe some of your lifestyle choices maybe raise your risk for not just testicular cancer, but other health consequences as well. So, but let my experience and the way that I rebound hopefully reframe your mind for not just maybe preventing cancer, but if it does happen, or depending on whatever the health issue is, you can rebound and still have hopefully a very long and happy life. All right, here we are. This is what the old bait site looks like. Doesn't look to be like any fresh sign around. There's nothing in there, it's been pretty dormant. As you can tell, I've just used the bait crib style, but let's unload. Right here we got an old tree that's just been clawed up and chewed on by a bear. So the bear will actually go ahead and sink its teeth up top and then rip off a great big strip. Here you can see a lot more claw marks. This is old, obviously. There's a lot of sap that's come out of this tree with spring, but you see what's going on. All right, we're on our way with the second load. I didn't bring the drone with me right now. I'm probably gonna set up my bait, come back, and then pick it up to go fly. The reason is I'm gonna be using a lot of sticky bait, stinky stuff too, so I don't wanna get that on the drone and smell. But I have to admit, I am over the moon right now because I've walked this route so many times. And last year when I was doing this for the bear, I was moving a lot slower. Mind you, I was less than 100 days out of chemo, or after being on my feet. But now, having the fall and the winter to really recover, get back in the gym, start to put on a little bit more size and strength, while just kind of reframing my mind again to get back into normal routine everyday life. It's that alone is a big win. I'm super happy. I'm stoked to be I feel like I'm just ripping through the woods right now. I'm flying. So last year, my chemo treatments, I had to do 3 rounds. I had to do 3 different types of chemos too. And let's just say they put me through the grinder. But one of the major side effects that I got, I was one of 10%, or one person of the 10% that gets chemo lung toxicity. And that knocked me down pretty good. I think I lost like 25% of my lung function within the first 3 weeks. And then I ended up getting hospitalized twice with viral and bacterial infections. I got double lung pneumonia. I got that pandemic virus, if you will. And all that stuff just compounded and just sent me back. So now to be able to breathe a lot better, have the strength and the energy to do the stuff that I love. Almost brings tears to your eyes right now. Oh. All right, we're back. So what I'm gonna do now is set up my trail camera on the tree behind me. I got it here. Before I really start muttering with it, I'm going to put on some gloves. These are just latex gloves that you could order off Amazon. And I like to do it to possibly reduce the chance of having any of the donuts or the honey glaze on my hands possibly touch the camera. So we're gonna set this up and then we'll show you how I bait. If you're wondering, this is the Reveal Gen X 2.0. It's a simple cell camera. Has a SD card and a micro SIM. You turn it on, it can send you pictures directly to your cell phone. You can adjust the settings and whatnot. I have a hard time getting cell service in this area, so I got an extended antenna. So I'll show you how I set that up as well. So right now I'm just setting up the antenna. I don't know if you guys can see it. Hopefully you can. Because once I get down from this tree, I don't want to come back up.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
So these extended antennas are super helpful, because you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on a camera to find out you got poor service. I'm also using a lock box here just to give me a little bit more added protection against the bears should they want to chew on the camera. It's a small, simple little investment, but hopefully it'll deter them a little bit more. Plus it keeps people from possibly stealing my camera. Mind you, if someone wants to get at it, they'll just cut down the tree. And if the bear wants to get in it, he'll just rip the camera right off the tree as well. So the tricky part now is just to thread the tree strap through the back of the camera in the lockbox, mount it, perfect. Make sure the camera is lined up. It's already been switched on. Just put the cover on. And voila, there you have it. It's on, it's locked to the tree. We got the camera set up, or the antenna up in the high tree. I'm gonna get some zip ties and just zip tie this loose cord to the tree, and we're good to go. Now we get to the good part. So this is my bait crib. Think of it like a big sandbox. So basically, instead of sand, I fill it with bait, pastries, a whole bunch of different types of grain. I'll mix it up depending on what the bear activity is gonna be like. But last year, I had a whole bunch of fallen timber after a summer storm. So what I did is I just took all the dead limbs, cut them with a handsaw, and you'll see exactly what I do with them. So every time I bait, depending on the pastries I get, sometimes my muffins will have wrappers on them. So I just make sure to grab all the paper off it, make sure I'm not littering. That's really important to me because, hey, I'm eating these animals, but I also want to respect them, right? That's the way I was taught. And every time I'm out here, I try to pick up any garbage that I see, whether it's beer cans, just random pieces of garbage. It all makes a big difference. I'm sure the animals don't mind it. This time we got some bagels, some danishes, more muffins. Depending on your state, if you're in the US, there's some baits you're unable to use, and you can only put out so much bait at a time. Here in Ontario, we have some pretty lax regulations when it comes down to baiting. If we use wild game, such as like say a roadkill, a dead moose, dead deer carcass, we have to submit an online form. So essentially we just report, and I believe it's called a license of possession. I don't bait with wild game, so that's not really a big issue. I did consider it, but I wasn't lucky to get any this winter for my wolf hunt. Last year, once the bears found this spot, I had to come almost every 2-3 days just to keep on top of it. Since I'm not using a barrel, it's kind of like a free-for-all for some of the bears. They'll come every 6 to 8 hours after they get a good feed, but I like the view of a bait crib rather than looking at a 55-gallon drum. That's just my own personal preference. Maybe when I get back to work and I'm a little bit strapped for time, I can consider it. And then the last little bit here will just be some frozen meat scraps. So since I didn't get a deer this year, I had to rely on beef and my bear from last year for the winter for red meat. So I like to cut my own meat. I like to buy whole strip loins, sirloins, maybe a ribeye. But by buying it whole, I could save a whole bunch of meat. And with those trimmings, the fat trimmings, I just throw them in the freezer and bring them out here. One thing for this stuff is I typically don't like to use a lot of protein in this area just because I have a really high wolf population, and in some cases the wolves can drive the bears off the bait site, from what I've researched and what I've heard from other people. But if you look at some of my videos from last year, I actually had wolves and bears here at the same time feeding off the same bait. So for me and my timeline, I won't be able to come out here in the next few days. So I am going to just set this up right now. I'm going to throw scent in the air. I don't expect the bears to come in super fast just because they're not aware that it's here yet. So I'll use my scents. I'll show you what I do, what I spray in the air to go ahead and get them to come in. And then afterwards, once they come in, that's when the race is on to keep this stocked, because every time they come in, I want them to be rewarded. I want to give them a treat, right? And the minute they run out of bait here, then they start looking for other areas. And the reason I found this spot was because I have a whole bunch of local blueberries and blackberries in the area. And I know that the bears like those type of sweets, especially in the summer. But I don't know how they're going to respond in spring. I tried to get a beaver carcass to hang up between two trees. Apparently that's a really good scent. That's what I heard also for wolves, but I wasn't able to get one. So I know that this worked last year. You can see in my last video. Check out vlog 5 if you haven't seen the bear video. It might be of interest, and you'll kind of get an idea of how I hunt there before I come out here for spring. But right now it's different because I don't have any leaves in the trees. There's no foliage up, and it's super quiet. So we'll see how this turns out. I'm excited to get this going. Here we are, the finished product. We got the donuts inside, the meat scraps, the bait cribs loaded. It's piled up. We were able to find some good dead timber to load on, as you saw. Now we're just gonna add, I have a little bit of bacon grease that I brought in from home. I don't have molasses with me or other, let's say, syrups. Typically I would bring one out there, but bringing in that type of volume with this bait today is a little tricky. But I brought a boatload of vanilla, and we're gonna use this type of stuff just to really get some scent out here. And I'll show you what I mean with regards to scent on using it strategically. So right now I'm just pouring it all over. There's a reason for that. When the bear touches the pile, he's gonna get grease on his hands, and then when he has his share, what's end up gonna do, he's gonna leave and track it all over the woods with him. So that means another bear will cross probably his track at some point, and bears have really strong sense of smell. That's one of the biggest things that I try to plan for when I'm hunting, because I can't fool his nose. It's virtually impossible, if possible at all. And I need to outsmart him when it comes down to getting him to come in. And I guess you could say I'm trying to make him really hungry. I want him to think I can't resist coming into this bait pile. So it's almost like I'm outsmarting his belly. This bacon grease was just in the fridge, so it's a little solid. A lot of people use fryer grease, deep fryer oil. You can use all that type of stuff. For me, this is just what I had. We don't deep fry at our house specifically, and I don't want to start lugging in gallons of grease if I can still get a bear this way. It's easier on my body. Yeah, I'm in better shape than I was last year, but still, if I could still get the job done with minimal effort while still having a good time, not making it a job, then I can be happy with that. And one little trick that I like to use, blueberry jello. Pretty cheap, it's sticky, it smells like blueberries. Get it in all the little cracks. And then the last little trick, I use vanilla. This is just simple artificial, it doesn't have to be true vanilla. This is artificial vanilla extract. I throw it in a spray bottle. Yeah, I could spray it on there if I want, but if you ever cooked with vanilla or been around it, you could tell it smells super sweet. So what I do is I spray it up in the trees. The bears really love this tree right here, particularly last year. There's a product called the Bear Bomb, and it's a little aerosol can. And what I found drove the bears nuts was the hickory smoked bacon flavor. So as you can tell, it's sweet, savory. The bears love it. And then after that, hopefully I could pattern them, sit in my tree stand, which isn't too far away. We'll show you guys that. And then be able to get the perfect shot. But we're gonna keep on spraying vanilla right now. So to give you a quick understanding, the bait pile's sitting there. We got the trail camera right there, it's on. And my tree stands right there. All right, I'm in the tree now. I'm sitting at about 18 feet off the ground. I have about an 18 to 22 yard shot, depending where the bear is accessing the bait pile. Next time I come in, I have to bring in some more zip ties to zip some fresher spruce on here, onto the tree stand itself. It'll give me a little bit more coverage, hide my legs, hide my body, so I could get a good clean shot. But I'll show you my angle for where I hope the bears are coming from and what my shot's gonna be like. All right, so that's where the bait pile is. I'm sitting at 18 yards away. The furthest shot's probably gonna be 20, 22 yards on the other side. Typically the bears come from over here in behind the trail camera. That's where the bears were coming from last year. and from straight behind. On the other side of these trees, there's a swamp and a bit of a river system, and that gives me an opportunity to hopefully plan for where the bears are going to be coming from. And behind me, I got a swamp as well. And during the day, I'm thinking those bears will be nestled down, possibly cooling off depending on what the temperatures are. But they will gorge themselves with these donuts and probably come back to the bait site every 6 to 8 hours if they're comfortable. But who knows? That could be very well not the case. I haven't hunted spring bear before. That's just what I'm planning for based on my fall experience. Who knows? Maybe they not respond to the sweets at all, but I'm suspecting they will just because they're very, very hungry after winter. But we're going to pack up, we're going to go get that drone, and then we'll skedaddle. All right, guys, I've just offloaded my backpack at the truck. I've picked up the drone. We're heading back in. We're going to send it up in the sky and hopefully get a good understanding of the layout of the land. I don't know if I'm going to expect any differences for the bear behavior in spring versus fall, but hopefully with this added footage, I'll get some good data and have a better understanding on when to hunt. All right, there you have it. I have to admit, getting this drone was one of the coolest purchases I've ever made. The shots that I could get with it are just mind-boggling. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that stuff. I know I sure did. Let me know if you think I'm gonna get a bear this season. I think we're gonna call the video here. We'll just keep it at baiting. And we got a lot of stuff in there for you. So feel free to rewind or ask any questions about my style, or feel free to give me any suggestions on how I can improve and maybe be a better hunter as well. I'm open to any comments, criticisms, stuff like that, just to get outdoors more and improve. So if you want to find me on other socials, I'll list them on the screen here. My handle is just at Calvin Crispo on all these platforms. And hopefully you guys can jump on there, connect with me on some live streams, and also let me know if you think I should start a Patreon group. I'm considering, like I said, maybe doing one for men's health. I'm thinking maybe doing a bi-weekly meeting or kind of a get-together, non-formal, just to talk about specific health issues that men need to be aware of, right? We could do one, let's say, one particular subject for every month of the year. So there's 12 months, there's 26 or 24 meetings there. So let me know what you guys think. I think it'd be pretty cool. I have to admit, when I got cancer, I didn't know anyone else who was like me going through this type of stuff. So I figured, why not blaze a trail for others to go ahead and, relate to. It's hard to go ahead and talk about these things. 1 out of 300 men get it though. So it's pretty popular. However, it's a hard thing to talk about and accept at times. So that's why I'm here. Hopefully you guys could, appreciate what I'm doing. All the words of encouragement, support mean a lot, trust me. And just know that everything that you guys do for me, and I hope to do for others as well. So basically paying it forward. But I'm back at the truck now. Hopefully you guys take care, and we'll catch you guys soon when we're in the outdoors. Cheers.